Hello, and welcome back to Paul and Lynn's Devil's Bridge ride on Phoenix, the new 2016 FJR1300. Right, so this is Gisborne, and this is the A59, and this now is the A682. It just continues from where we've just left off, the 682 to here. So this road takes us to Long Preston in North Yorkshire, and then of course we pick it up from Long Preston to Ingleton, and then from Ingleton we pick it up from there to Devil's Bridge, where we have a nice bacon butty, pot of tea and a cup of coffee for Lynn. So, what got me into biking? I have mentioned this before on a previous video, but hey, I've got new subscribers, so come on, let's do a refresher. What got me into biking? Well, back in 1980, when I was 17, during the summer of that year, I'd been to the Isle of Man with my family, my brother, me, mum and dad, on holiday, for our annual holiday. And that was actually the last year that I went there with my mum and dad and my brother, and I didn't return until 1985 when I went over there with Lynn, age 22. Right, so 1980. So whether something sort of occurred to me subconsciously whilst over on the Isle of Man, of course, you know, if you don't get the biking bug in the Isle of Man, you won't get it anywhere, because obviously the TT. Although we didn't go during TT time, but of course, wherever you go, there's evidence of it. You know, the safety barriers and the straws or bales of straw at the side of the road. So the evidence is all around that this is a special place for motorcycles. So, as I said, I didn't consciously decide in July of that year to say I want to start motorcycling. It was funny, really. However, I did decide that I wanted to get a bike, because being 17 and living at home, I wanted some independence, and I wasn't interested in, or couldn't even afford, a car. I had no license, no car license. So I applied for my provisional license for a motorcycle, which back then you just apply for this provisional license. And as far as I can remember, you could ride anything, as long as it had L plates on. So that was to change in 1981, but that's another story. So I applied for my license. So I started looking in the local newspaper for motorbikes for sale, and being 17 and very, very much impulsive and foolish, I saw this Honda C50 on a L plate. When I say L plate, not a learner plate, a letter L, which I think was 1973-4, something like that. Someone corrects me, please, if I've got that wrong. So it was a bike that was at least 6 years old by this time. And the person selling it lived in Accrington, and he wanted £70 for it. Now at that time I was on probably £32 a week to take home after tax, etc. So £70 for a motorcycle is a lot of money. It's like, you know, just over 2 weeks' wages. But if it wasn't for my dear late mum not taking anything off me for board, I couldn't have afforded it. But mum didn't take any money off me. I didn't know why at the time. Whether I offered, I can't remember, but she didn't. I think I know now why she didn't. So there I am, buying this bike. So I remember me and my dad went to collect it, and he was working on it. So that should have been a bit of a warning. So long story short, bought the bike. August the 1st came, my licence, my insurance kicked in, and away I went. And the first time that I rode it, the bloody thing broke down. And as it turned out, apparently these pistons seized, so it needed reboring. However, as I said before, I have told this story before, I did meet a very, very fine gentleman called Jim because of that bike, and he put me a reconditioned 50cc engine in it. He tried to put a 90cc engine in, but something to do with the wiring, the circuitry, whatever, it wasn't compatible, so he put another 50 in. So I was mobile, and I've met a nice chap. He used to have a motorcycle shop in Blackburn, probably in the 50s, 60s, 70s. But by this time he was retired, so he used to tinker, and he used to have a few bikes in his 3 sheds. And he was a lovely man. Lovely man, I miss him dearly. The last time I saw him was in 2006, and I was on my Pan-European, and I was so proud that when he sat on it, and I took his picture. And he remembers me when I was 17 with an old Honda C50, and there I was on a 2004 FJR1300 Pan-European. Very, very proud moment. So that was my introduction to motorcycling. And another good friend who lived in the next street to me, Ted, he had a 1977 or 78. It was an S-Reg. What reg? PW8717S. Yeah. And he had a Honda 90 C90 that he was going to be either selling or part exchanging. I don't think he knew really what he wanted at the time, but he sold it to me. I can't remember what I paid for it, but he sold it to me and I passed my motorcycle test on that one. I failed it the first time. It was absolutely throwing it down, and I failed on not looking over my left shoulder just prior to a left-hand turn, you know, into a side street or whatever. And he said there could have been a cyclist coming up on my left as I made the turn, so if I wasn't aware of this cyclist, well, I could, you know, T-bone him. So, fair comment. Anyway, on a much better day, I passed my test on the second attempt. I've joined the A team. Hooray! And the rest is history. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.